is Harold Waight, and I am a painter residing in Brooklyn, New York, and Bushwick. I also, right now, have some pieces in London and have some pieces in Georgia as well.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And how long have you been an artiste?
So I've been an artist my entire life. I've dabbled within using different mediums, whether it be fashion photography, so the camera, or whether it be a paintbrush or a sewing kit. At one time, I even had a fashion collection. So I've been an artist my whole life, and I love exploring different mediums to execute what I'm trying to portray.
And he's good at what he does, and he's also a community activist and community leader. He does that as well.
Yes.
So when I'm on my phone looking for one of the pictures because I actually Harold actually took couple of pictures of me back in the day. You remember that one?
Yes. I think that was one of our first photo
Yes,
shoots
it
that we
was.
ever had. Yeah.
Yes, it was. So I still have it till this day. I was like, okay, we're doing a damn thing.
I was a photographer in training when I took that one. I remember that one.
I mean, photographer in training, you did the damn thing because I was just like, build confidence.
Well, you've
So,
always brought the best out of people.
yeah, for sure. So, do you have some artwork that you want to show us? Because,
Yeah, sure. So
yes,
right
please.
now, I am working on this one, which has been a big work in progress,
Love that.
right? So thank
Mhm.
you. This one is around my vision around what the future and what it holds. I started focusing on this alien character right here.
Mhm.
And the alien basically represents the outcasts of societies, the leaders, the change makers, people who don't necessarily fit in, but they've been dubbed an alien because why? They don't fit in. So when it comes down to people who are, leading movements or people who are presenting ideas that quite often society does not like acknowledge or follow, those people tend to feel outcasted, or they often are outcasted. For example, right here, I have this painting here is called Langston's House. And,
Mhm.
Langston's House is a paid tribute to the Langston Hughes home and
Yep.
Langston Hughes and all his accomplishments. Within this house, you see different apples,
Mhm.
different figures in each window. Each figure has initials that represent a different leader of the Harlem Renaissance. And
Wow.
then down here, you see the alien human
Yep.
driving the train.
Yeah, I see the alien driving a train. When I went over
and
there and I saw that, I tripped me out. I was like, a fucking alien's driving a train. What the hell?
yeah, so the alien has H. Tubman on the scarf.
Oh,
H. Tubman on the
wow.
scarf. And the reason I put H Tubman in a scarf is because I wanted to speak to the migration of all the black folks and minority people who are moving to Harlem or New York City during the Harlem Renaissance. And even those two different eras, H Tubman and Langston Hughes, I still wanted to connect our the history of blackness and the history of minorities within this country and how they migrate from one place to another in order to seek asylum or to seek, a place of belonging.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I have this guy right here.
The,
This one
the,
is
the ice cream melting off the face was it for me.
so this one is actually a melting Earth, and this alien here is standing up for global warming and
Mm,
trying to raise awareness around it. So you see the fist in the air, kind of
I
like and the
see.
afro to blend in like black power and to also like blend in the idea of like standing up for our rights as humans. And I believe our rights as humans is also has to do with preserving the planet and making sure that we're making the appropriate moves to preserve this planet that our children or grandchildren or future generations will inherit.
Absolutely.
Um, let's see. Oh, I'll talk about this last one right here.
Mm-hmm.
This one is called Hot Freedom Stand.
Mm-hmm.
So this one has been a hot topic in the United States for quite some time. The Hot Freedom Stand has to do with everything pertaining to politics and how it affects, perspective within
Mm-hmm.
the United States when it comes down to firearms. And here in this painting, I wanted to leave it open to the viewer, whether it be somebody who's pro or against firearms. I wanted them to be able to see perspective from the other side.
Mhm.
So here it says sold out, and it has American Dream, which have the umbrella effect of the hot freedom, justice, liberty, speech, happiness, equality. Those are all things that stem from the American dream
Yeah.
when people think about that. And then the guns are disguised within hot dog buns. There's ketchup and mustard.
Mhm.
Grenade is supposed to, symbolize the pretzel that would be being sold. And you
Mhm.
have $1 to save a life, $2 to save yourself, $1 to save a child, and so
Wow.
on, so on. I also try to put little like historical
Mhm.
things within the paintings, like let's say laws, like the number two up there. It's supposed to stand for um, the right to bear arms, the Second
Mm.
Amendment. So the Second Amendment. So I kind of
Mhm.
like blended that into the painting. So each piece has a little bit of history, research, perspective, and guidance
Mhm.
when it comes down to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how were you able to come up with the idea to create these paintings that have such powerful meanings that are affecting us as human beings right now in real time? Because I feel like when you were painting these things, even though it was happening, it wasn't as loud as it is now. So, how were you able to foresee now? Because that was in the past. So, you were actually creating it for now, which was the future, but now it's present.
Well, I think I had to come. I had to realize when I was creating this artwork that I would be okay with creating things that would speak to different generations or different
Mhm.
eras. And what inspired me to create these pieces that were ahead of their time was,
Mhm.
you know, having some type of empathy for the world around me, and
Yeah.
having some type of understanding, wanting to understand, how how humanity works,
Mhm.
all these topics of interest to raise social consciousness, awareness around social consciousness. They all inspired me. These topics around gun violence, or when it creates migration, or global warming.
Mhm.
These aren't just things that have happened in the future, but we've seen kind of like a pattern
Yeah, for
from the
sure.
past. So I'm always thinking like, okay, so what are things that are a pattern that we always talk about we want to change or make better, but we always see humanity going back on it or falling
Mhm.
backwards. I think that quite often we talk about something, we brush it all under the rug and pretend like it's not going to happen again.
Yep.
It's like treating a wound and then going back and doing the same thing over and again, and then here we are again. So I
Yeah.
think when it comes down to art, it's very important to basically have pieces that are going to speak to the future, but also
Mhm.
relate to current times, because
Absolutely.
current times tend to just come back full circle,
Mhm.
unfortunately. And that seems like it's the human nature of things.
Yeah, it's like recycled history.
Yeah, it might be in different forms,
Yeah.
but like when I'm creating some pieces, it's current issues that are happening, and then all of a sudden things die down, and then they happen again. And
Mhm.
these pieces remind me of that. Like I created a piece called
Mhm.
2020, and I'm so happy I documented it. Nina Simone said, our duty of an artist is to document the times. I believe the duty of an artist is now to create pieces that are going to impact change, to enhance the time, change the times. And I created pieces called 2020. And in this piece, I was documenting all the events that were happening during 2020 Trump
Mhm.
administration. And I
Mhm.
just remember being in Miami, and I was at a hotel running on a treadmill. And I remember the news came on, and the news was saying, this is currently happening right now. It's currently happening right now. However, the painting that I created was 2 years prior. So
Wow.
to me, if I had never documented that painting of current events that are actually happening, I thought about it and I was like, wow, it's so easy to get wrapped up in the media and allow the media to kind of dictate the time span or alter our reality. But
Mhm.
for art capturing things and freezing moments in time, then
Yeah.
sometimes we might allow somebody's storytelling to you know uh, push away push us away from reality. And I find that art is reality.
It is. For sure. Art is definitely reality. Art is the trees, art is grass,
Yeah,
art is whatever it
it's
is.
everywhere around us. Absolutely, you got to
Yeah.
find beauty in everything, and that's the duty. That's
Yeah.
a thing for an artist. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us, like, when did you give yourself permission to answer the call to be such a community activist and leader that you are, and how did that transform you as a person?
I think for me, I never went out into the world trying to say I'm going to be the one in charge of leading movements, or I'm going to be the one organizing things, or I'm going to be the one, trying to force things on people.
Hmm.
I think for me, it was more so, hey, I think this is wrong and we shouldn't do this. And when people would say, what do you mean that's wrong? This is what we're used to. And I'm like, just because it's you're used to it is not what we should be doing. And I think when I realized that I'm able to, and there's less people who are able to do this, able to change perspectives
Yeah.
by showcasing things. I
Hmm.
think that allowed me to see myself in a different light and see, okay, so just because I'm not standing at the top of a hill yelling, hey, this is the way, this is the only way, it doesn't mean that I cannot be at the bottom of the hill still impacting movement,
Yeah.
impacting positive change. You know, we all have different perspectives, and it's important to acknowledge the different perspectives is what makes the world go round.
Hmm.
But I feel like when we get the best results when we work together.
Yep.
And when it comes down to community activism, I think I've always gotten the best results when I work with a group of people. It's more impactful. There's power in numbers. So when it
Hmm.
comes down to like contributing to being, an activist, I have my niche, and some people
Hmm.
just say, you're very political when it comes down to art, and I don't think I am very political when it comes down to art. I think I'm a realist when it comes down to art, but other people could argue that my artwork is pure surrealism. To me, it's
Hmm.
reality. If I'm touching on topics that are current and possibly going to happen, and um, but that's what inspired me to like get into a little bit more into activism, is knowing that I'm not going to necessarily be leading a charge if I'm
Hmm.
surrounded by a group of people who I'll be able to, show perspective, and we'll all be able to believe the same thing, and it's
Yeah.
leading up to a better world.
Hmm.
It's almost like you're not in it by yourself.
Yeah. I love the fact that you said that there's power in numbers because um a week and a half ago when you went through the whole election process, I actually posted something on TikTok saying that the same way that everyone was coming together to support Kamala Harris, they had gays for Kamala, whites for Kamala, black for Kamala. If we were supposed to do that consistently together for each other, there's power in numbers where we could be a powerful society, because at that point there will be no racism, discrimination, any of it. We would just be meeting each other where we at and having that unconditional love and compassion towards each other to make change happen and say, okay, what can I do for this, or how can I support you in this way? So I posted that, and I also posted about just not allowing all of the things that's happening right now. Acknowledge it, but don't allow it to define who you are, and figure out like what role do you play and how you can help in your own way.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Um,
Hmm.
I've come to also realize with all my traveling, um,
Because he's
that
a
unfortunately, yeah, but unfortunately, within our generation and our time here on this earth, we're not going to be able to convince the whole world to be a better
Mhm.
version of what we believe better
Mhm.
is. So there's always going to be work to be done.
Yep.
And this past election proves that, there's going to be people who are going to completely be on opposite sides of what we believe.
Hmm.
And because of that, there's always going to be work to be done. And
Yes.
I find that when it comes down to it, it's like we have to make sure that we're not taken away from people's individuality, because I think what scares them about like, hey, let's join,
Hmm.
not taking away people from individual, we're acknowledging them and letting them feel and know that they belong, not just know but feel like they belong.
Hmm.
Because if not, then you're going to lose power with the numbers. I
Yeah.
think that happened with this election. I think it became very easy to divide, the
Yes.
oppressed within the oppressors, and,
Hmm.
and the oppressed. Unfortunately, it's human nature, and I've done a lot of studying on like how people are, and even within an oppressed group, there's always an oppressed.
Yep.
and it's just always going to be like that until we cut that from the core, which is our education system, teaching the kids, how to not discriminate, how to not push hate, how to not believe that something that's wrong is right.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, what we're seeing right now is there's a backtrack with
Mm-hmm.
that mentality, and it's going to cause us to again relive all
All
the
of
things,
yeah. Mm.
cycles, things I go over and over and over again. It's unfortunate. One day I won't be here, but somebody else will be here to take my place as a community leader and activist. Somebody
Yes.
else will be here to say the same things that we're saying, and
Mm-hmm.
say and vice versa. And does that mean we stop the fight? No, we just keep fighting. We keep moving forward, and we keep hoping that everything that we're doing, whether it be interviewing people, whether it be coaching, or whether it be painting, is
Mm-hmm.
going to continue to get us someday to where we need to be as.
Absolutely. Agreed 100%. It's interesting that because you're way younger than me. You're like what, 30?
I'm 32. Oh my God.
32. And Yurdi says to tell you hello. She was the entrepreneur before you. I'm definitely going to connect you guys because she's a fellow artist.
Oh, dope.
Um, she's 34 and her mind is just amazing. Like your mind is amazing. And the things that you guys think about at your ages, people my age or even older than you guys we never had that. Not that we don't have the knowledge, we had our own wisdom, but I feel like there's such a level of consciousness and awareness within the younger generation, within, the Gen Zers, the Gen Alphas, those who are willing to like put in the work and put in the time and not afraid to just be like, hey, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing and this is the mission. And I answer the call and I'm not afraid to answer the call because I know it's for the betterment of the world.
Yeah.
Like, how do you see that going about when you talk about your activism and we look at our parents because you know how
Mhm.
our parents are. We look
Uh,
at our parents and what is a comparison to you, like what do you see?
so when it comes down to it, I see that my parents raised me, right. So I have a lot of pushback. When you're raised by your parents and they have their way of seeing the world, you're going to always have pushback. And
Yeah.
every generation's job is to progress prior to the last generation. And they raised me to keep my head down, be grateful and work really, really hard and be grateful for the little bit that I received back.
Mm-hmm.
My parents, they were immigrants who came to this country, and they worked very, very, very hard, and they did the best that they could,
Mm-hmm.
given with what they had and what they didn't have and how they were
Mm-hmm.
brought up. So I have so much respect for the generations before me, not just my parents, but generations before me, because they could only do their best. But it
Right.
doesn't mean that once you know better, you don't do better.
That
And
part.
for us, I believe that for millennials, Gen Z, and alphas, as every single generation that's coming up, you get to see the errors of the generations prior to you. You get to see the impact that they've had on, the community and society and you personally. And then,
Mhm.
you know what, I could choose. I'm the adult now, so I could choose to play things differently. I could choose to contribute to this world differently. I could
Yeah.
choose to not do the same things that are going to, not just hurt myself, but hurt others. And I think that's the best thing about this world, right? As humans, we get to pass on that knowledge to the next generation. And we're supposed to just gradually get better and better and better.
Right.
I feel like that's our true purpose as human beings, is to, like, every single generation pass on the knowledge you've received, so
Yes.
that the next person could do better and
Yep.
better and better. And
Yeah.
maybe one day, yes, maybe one day racism will be done. Maybe one day, you won't have misogynists. Maybe one day you won't have phobias. And
Mhm.
maybe one day we will focus on the things that matter, which aren't the things that separate us, but the things that are going to enhance us and move us forward as a humanity, a human race.
Absolutely.
I paint about aliens, but if these motherfuckers came and attacked us, we would be so busy attacking each other that we would have no idea how to defend ourselves. And
Exactly
we
how
have
we
the
stand together.
21st century. There's no reason why we have all this technology and we're still focused on caveman things like
Mhm.
color of skin and texture of hair, or it's just the silliest things that people are focused on, or differences within religion. Whatever is your religion is your religion. I heard that now we're pushing Christianity in schools, and I'm a Christian.
Hmm.
But as a true Christian, I know for a fact that God has never intended for people to forcefully come to Him. You know,
Absolutely.
everybody has their own belief, and I just think it's wrong to force something on
Mhm.
people.
Yeah, let
That,
them make
that's
their own
not for
decision.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think too is people being open and willing and ready to
yeah.
change and shift and elevate and to remove certain patterns and cycles and behaviors that are no longer serving, that are no longer working
Yeah.
in order for the cycles to end. But only time will tell. So
Well,
thank you so much, cousin, for coming on. I appreciate you.
thank you for having me. I
Of
appreciate
course.
you. Thank you so
Do you
much.
have any like specials or anything that's going on for the holidays with your paintings, your artwork? Like, let's talk about that real quick.
So I will be coming out with a stationary line, so greeting cards that touch on diversity and different types of greetings. So
Mhm.
be on the lookout for that. As far as paintings, my paintings are for sale. I do have collectors, and if you're a person who's new to wanting to be a collector, just message me. We could work through it. We could figure it out. If there's something that really speaks to you, just let me know. I rather my paintings go to a very good home where they'll be taken care of than somebody who just wants something to hang on the wall. These
Right.
paintings have meaning. They have a lot of good energy to them. A lot of research and a lot of thought process goes into them. So I would hope that they go to the right homes. So message me. You can find me on haroldwaight.com. Also, Harold Waight is my Instagram handle, and also my TikTok handle for as long as we have TikTok. And that's all I have for you.
That part. Well, I love you and I appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.